Welcome, everyone, to Mindful Leadership Beyond Borders. And we're very excited today to have a fascinating guest. I think you're going to love this woman. Her name is Rassi, and I can't pronounce her last name, but she said just call her Rassi or Rassi B, and we'll have her name up above the video anyway. But anyway, this incredible woman hails from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. She's a leadership coach, book coach, speaker, and best-selling author of a couple books that I'm sure more are coming down the pike, knowing this woman. Amazon bestseller of Lead in Your Truth. Think about that title, Lead in Your Truth. Lots to talk about there, and heal on your terms. Rassi works with corporate leaders to help them lead their teams more effectively. And I love her title of being a self-leadership coach. Yeah.
Yes.
So Rassi, welcome to Mindful Leadership Beyond Borders. And, we talk about leadership a lot, but rarely do we talk about self-leadership. Other than Raj and I, we have talked a lot about that. We believe in it. And so that's why I was fascinated in having you here as our guest. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention that she's a mentor on a youth mentoring program, helping our youth to take control of their lives, which is incredible. So lots to talk about here. So Rassi, how would you describe self-leadership?
Yeah, it's so first of all, it's I firmly believe that it starts with self. Like before I describe that, I want to share like a bit of like where my passion grew for self-leadership.
Yeah.
So like I've worked with various corporations, so McDonald's, Starbucks, Vancouver International Airport, Reitmans, and ISSO BC. And through all like my different walks, like I found like an opportunity gap of how leaders are walking the talk. So I'm saying to my team, embrace conflict, work on your emotional intelligence, be clear on like your next steps, like your goals that you're working on. And then you reflect back, like that is not being practiced by the leader. So I found that like that significant opportunity in every single company that I worked for and worked with. And then it occurred to me, okay, let me reflect on my own journey and start from there. So, and that's why I always say it starts with self, and that self leadership. And how I will define it is being able to make your own decision, right? And it takes a lot of knowing yourself and building that courage that with love and compassion to make your own decisions. And the second part I want to like add to that is like being able to motivate yourself, right? So finding out like what works, that. So an example, I know that whenever I'm faced with conflict, if I see it as an opportunity to grow, guess what? I'm going to open up myself to that, like when it happens, right? Instead of seeing it as a negative. I will be like, okay, this is here to teach me something. This is here to help me go deeper into this like specific relationship. Either it's like with myself or with another person. And then the last part here is like that rewarding, right? So there's so many actions that we take, there's so many things that we do to like grow, and we're inspiring and influencing people around us. It is so important to reward ourselves for what we do. And this is where I know I'm going on for a while here. It's like celebrating small wins. I'll wrap it up here. It's so important, like no matter how small or how big. I actually have like a board, and every like client, every leader that I've worked with, I've inspired them to like incorporate this in their daily practices. Is at the end of the day, or even when you start your day or halfway through your day, writing on a board, like, what am I celebrating? Maybe it's like you woke up and you took a few breaths, right? Or maybe it's like you had this very difficult conversation with somebody on your team, or maybe you stepped out of your comfort zone and asked your team members for feedback. there's so many different ways, like identifying that as long as I'm here, I still have an opportunity to build on myself and start with myself and influence and inspire the people that are around me.
That's awesome. Well, yesterday I did a fair amount of work, and then I went out to celebrate by digging up my garden. We have a patch for vegetables and patches for flowers, but we wanted to make it more beautiful. So I had to dig up all this sod. Oh my God. That was quite a trick, but it, you know, so there's an example, right, where
Mhm.
digging up sod to turn it into a garden, one might see that as conflict because you're fighting with that sod. That grass has been there for years, right? And you're trying to dig it out, and it's just, and I don't have my husband's strength, or Raj's strength, so I am, you know, doing my best. I even took a saw to the grass because I thought,
That's
if I innovative, right?
yeah, gotta do what you gotta do.
You got to do it. So I took the saw and I cut it, and then I was able to dig it up much easier. But anyway, I really agree with you around embracing conflict, to see it as a positive, not a negative. And most people that I have worked with, and I've worked with clients, I'm a coach myself, an executive and life coach, and I have clients in 50 plus countries. They're all the same, no matter which country they live in,
Yeah.
and they all want to run away from conflict.
Mhm.
Most of them, right? Raj, what do you think? Do you think people like to run away from conflict or face it?
If I'm counting myself also, when I was in school and college, I was also same person.
Running away, right? Yeah, run away.
And in my school
Yeah.
and college time, whenever I fight with my friends and anyone, I always run away and close my door. I didn't talk for 1 month, 15 days. I don't know.
There you go. Oh yeah, it is extremely difficult. And here's an example of one of my executive clients, but on the home front. It's time for her to spread her wings, right? Her husband has been the one who is pushing ahead with his career, and she's been supporting him, but to her detriment. You see, she has
Mhm.
not been finding her wings. I
Mhm.
reminded her this week how important it is for everyone to make sure that they are contributing the maximum to the world, what their
Mhm.
heart wants to do, that passion,
Yeah.
which is so important. But there's
I think
conflict there.
mhm. Yeah, they like something that I will add, it's like how you see it, right? So if I see it as this thing that is like after me, I see it as a threat, guess what? I'm probably not going to move closer towards it, right? And then the other part is, yeah, it is like a conflict. Like I love, like this is another thing for like my personal growth. If it's like making me feel some type of way, like my body, like I'm getting this like shakes, or I'm feeling uncomfortable, like my blood, like it's hot, right? That's when I was like, okay, I gotta take 24 hours, think about this, and do something about it. Because guess what? If I don't do something about it now, it's gonna come up again, and
Yeah.
that's when things blow up, and then
Mm.
we blow up somewhere else. Like it could be the person that doesn't even deserve it. Nobody deserves it. But and then the other part is, like, I talk about this quite a bit, like on my social media content. It's that, why do it alone when you don't have to, right? Like we can, like you're sharing about your client, like getting a coach, just having like a mentor that you can go to, or maybe it's like your peer, right? Like peer mentoring, reverse mentorship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's like sharing about that conflict could probably like actually give you answers, like saying it out loud,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like even like last week I connected with with my coach, right? And I sent a message and I was like, I need 30 minutes. Like I don't know what's happening right now, but I need to talk it through. I need a sounding board. I just need to like say it out loud to somebody that's going to ask me the questions for me to go deeper. And that takes a lot. It takes courage. It takes practice to say, I need help. Let me go and find the help, because we never have to figure it out by ourselves. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I wanted to say when you said things can blow up, they can blow up through anger, relationships can split, but whatever, it can also cause us physical harm.
Yes.
And this week alone, I was coaching a person from the Middle East and another one from North America, and they both had health issues in the same area of their body. And when we looked at the root cause, very deeply at the root cause, it was about relationships and loving self, and interestingly enough, poor connection to God. You know, so just it's a fascinating thing. So embracing conflict, that's a big one. Yeah. Which one of your books would we send your people to send our people to around embracing conflict? Is it Lead in Your Truth or Heal on Your Terms?
There's both, honestly. I was like, literally when you were chatting, like when you were mentioning, you know, like that physical harm and like how it can cause like physical harm if we don't, like even emotional like harm as well, right? And like I share about that like in Lead in Your Truth, like in the when you don't deal with conflict, like how it builds up and then you blow up and then it's like a bigger consequence, right? And then there's the other part where like in my second book, Heal on Your Terms, I shared about like grief, like how I had to navigate through conflicts with different people in my life, like while I was grieving and asking for, you know, this is what I want. This is what's going to help me heal on my terms. Basically saying, stop telling me how I'm going to heal, because it's different for every single person, right? There isn't like a book out there that says, follow all these steps and you know you're going to be healed and you're good to go, but it's like a lifetime, like especially when it's that person that's very significant like in your life, right? It's
Absolutely.
like I'll definitely say like Lead in Your Truth and Heal on Your Terms. Like it really depends, because like there's like that leadership part and then there's that like self-growth and healing journey. But like how I sum it up, it's like I'm always gonna face conflict. I'm drawn to it. Like it's not that I'm looking for it, but I'm not afraid of it, right? I know what is possible on the other end. So coaching like, you know, leaders through, and even when I'm working with authors and experienced writers, there's so much room in there. There's so much conflict like through the book writing process. Like it's a full life transformation. Like I can't even start to like explain.
I know. I've written many books and I'm helping someone else write another book myself. So, well, Rassi, this ends episode number 1, and I really appreciate all of the information and the conversation. We could go on for hours around embracing conflict, but let's meet in episode number 2 in a moment.
Thank you.
Can anybody out there hear me? Hear me?